The galaxy laughed. It was not a loud laugh, not a happy one. It was quiet, cold, and full of disbelief. Because for the first time in history, the Galactic Council had invited a new species. Humans. On Earth. The news spread like fire. Some people celebrated. Some people were afraid. Many did not believe it was real. But it was real. A signal had arrived from deep space. Clear, powerful, impossible to fake. You were invited to join the Galactic Council. No one knew why. Humans were not the strongest, not the oldest, not even united as one people. They still fought each other, still argued, still made mistakes. But they were curious. And curiosity had always been their greatest strength and their greatest danger. Ambassador Elias Vance stood inside the largest room he had ever seen, the council chamber. It was bigger than a city. The walls were not walls. They were stars. Real stars, moving slowly like they were part of the room. Light flowed across the space like rivers in the sky. Floating platforms filled the chamber. On each one sat a different species. Some were tall and made of metal and light. Some looked like shadows with glowing eyes. Some were creatures Elias could not even describe. All of them were watching him, waiting, judging. Elias took a slow breath. He kept his face calm, even though his heart was beating fast. He was not just a man here. He was Earth. He was humanity. And he was alone. A bright figure moved at the center of the chamber. The council speaker. It was tall, thin, and glowing like white fire. Its voice did not come from a mouth. It echoed inside the mind. Humanity has arrived. The words were simple, but the tone was not warm. It was cold, careful, almost amused. We welcome you to observation. Elias frowned slightly. Observation? That did not sound like respect. It sounded like a test. A low sound moved across the chamber. Not quite talking. Not quite noise. More like whispers. Aliens speaking in their own ways. Elias could feel it. They were not impressed. Some of them looked at him like he was nothing. Some looked at him like he was food. Others looked at him like he was already dead. Elias stepped forward. I speak for Earth, he said, his voice steady. We came in peace. We came to learn and to stand with others. Silence followed. Then a small sound. Laughter. One of the alien delegates, a tall, dark figure with long arms, leaned forward. Stand with us, it said slowly. You misunderstand your position, human. More whispers followed. The speaker raised a hand, and the room went quiet again. Humanity does not stand with the council, the speaker said. Not yet. Elias felt the meaning behind those words. Not yet or not ever. Something felt wrong. Elias had studied diplomacy his entire life. He knew how leaders acted. He knew how alliances worked. This was not it. There was no warmth here. No trust. No unity. Only power. And something else. Fear. As the meeting continued, Elias noticed small details. Delegates did not look at each other. They avoided eye contact. Some sat far away from others. Even though space did not matter here, it was like no one trusted anyone, not even their own allies. Then it happened. A quiet signal appeared on Elias's private device. Encrypted. Hidden. Not from Earth. From inside the chamber. Elias hesitated for a second, then opened it. A message appeared. Only 3 words. Leave. Now. Please. Elias's heart skipped. He slowly looked around the chamber, trying not to show any reaction. Who sent this? And why? The meeting ended without warning. The speaker's voice echoed again. The trial will begin soon. Trial? Elias did not remember agreeing to any trial. But before he could ask, the lights shifted. The stars and the walls dimmed. The chamber began to empty. Delegates disappeared one by one. And just like that, it was over. Elias turned to leave. But someone was waiting for him. A small alien figure stood near the exit. It was thin, with pale skin and large, dark eyes. It looked nervous, afraid. You received a message, it said, quietly. Elias stopped. Yes, he replied. That was you. The alien nodded quickly. You should not be here, it said. No new species should come here. Elias narrowed his eyes. Why? The alien looked around, making sure no one was watching. Because this is not a council, it whispered. It is a throne. Elias felt a chill run down his spine. What does that mean? He asked. The alien's voice dropped even lower. It means you were not invited to join, it said. You were invited to be tested. Before Elias could say anything more, the alien stepped back. Fear filled its eyes. They are watching, it said. I cannot help you again. And then it was gone, just like the others. Elias stood alone in the silent hall. His mind raced. A trial. A warning. Fear inside the most powerful group in the galaxy. None of this made sense. But one thing was clear. This was not an honor. This was not a partnership. This was something else. Something dangerous. When Elias returned to his ship, the crew looked at him with hope. So, one of them asked, how is it? Elias paused. He looked back at the massive structure of the council station, floating in space like a god. Then he spoke. Something is wrong, he said. Very wrong. He walked to the communication panel and prepared a message for Earth. His hands were steady, but his voice was not. This is Ambassador Elias Vance, he began. We are not joining a council. He stopped for a moment, then finished the sentence. We are walking into a trap. Far away, deep inside the council station, the speaker watched, silent, waiting. And for the first time since humanity arrived, it smiled. The message reached Earth in less than a second, but the silence that followed felt endless. Inside command rooms, leaders watched the recording again and again. Elias's voice played on repeat. We are walking into a trap. Some called it fear. Some called it caution. Others called it truth. Back on the council station, nothing looked wrong. That was the most dangerous part. The halls were clean. The lights were soft. The systems worked perfectly. It felt peaceful. But Elias could feel it now. The pressure, like something heavy was sitting on his chest. Watching. Waiting. A signal arrived. Official. Cold. Ambassador Elias Vance. You are required to attend the Worth evaluation. Elias read the words twice. Worth. Evaluation. He didn't like either of them. The chamber this time was smaller. Still massive by human standards, but smaller than before. Only a few delegates were present. The speaker stood at the center again, glowing brighter than before. Humanity will now prove its value, it said. No welcome this time. No polite words. Just a statement. Elias stood straight. And if we refuse, he asked. A quiet ripple moved across the room. Some delegates turned slightly, as if surprised he even asked. The speaker did not hesitate. Refusal is a decision, it said, and all decisions have consequences. Not a threat, but it felt like one. A large display lit up in the air. Images appeared. Worlds, ships, cities, species. Every member of the council has given something, the speaker continued. Value must be exchanged. Balance must be kept. The images change faster now. A planet burning. A fleet being dismantled. Lines of beings being moved like cargo. Elias felt his jaw tighten. This was not balance. This was control. The speaker raised one hand. The images stopped. Humanity will now offer its contribution. Elias crossed his arms slightly. What kind of contribution? He asked. The chamber went silent. Then the speaker answered. Options have been prepared for efficiency. The first option appeared. A resource colony. A human world marked and highlighted. Population, millions. Purpose, extraction. The second option. A military fleet. Human ships, still under construction. Future power, handed over. Then the third option appeared. Elias felt his blood run cold. A population group. The words were calm. Too calm. For integration into council labor systems. No one reacted. Not the speaker. Not the other delegates. To them, this was normal. Elias took a slow step forward. No, he said. His voice was not loud, but it was clear. We will not give you our people. A pause. A long one. The kind that stretches time. The speaker's light flickered once. Clarify your response, it said. Elias did not move. We refuse all options, he said. The temperature in the room seemed to drop, not physically, but emotionally. The silence became heavy, uncomfortable, dangerous. One of the delegates, a massive creature with layered armor-like skin, leaned forward. You do not understand, it said slowly. This is not a request. Elias looked directly at it. I understand perfectly, he replied, and my answer is still no. More movement in the chamber now, not open anger, but something close to it. Tension, old memories, fear. The speaker spoke again. Humanity is newly arrived, it said. Ignorance is expected. Elias almost smiled. Almost. We are not ignorant, he said. We just don't agree. That changed everything. For the first time, Elias saw something real in the chamber. Not control, not calm, but emotion. Some delegates looked worried. Others looked angry, and a few looked something else. Hopeful. The speaker lowered its hand slowly. Then humanity chooses a difficult path, it said. Non-compliance carries weight. Elias did not answer, because now he understood. This was never about joining. This was about obedience. The meeting ended quickly. Too quickly. No more words. No more options. Just silence. Back on his ship, Elias moved fast. Prepare a full report, he ordered. Everything we saw, everything we heard. The crew nodded, tense. What do we do now? One of them asked. Elias looked out at space. At the massive council station floating like a giant shadow. We tell Earth the truth, he said. The message he sent was longer this time. More detailed. More urgent. This is not a council of equals, he said. This is a system of control. He paused and added, every species here has paid a price, and none of them are free. Hours passed. Then something changed. A new signal appeared. Not official. Not clean. Broken. Hidden. Elias opened it carefully. Data files. Security logs. Internal records. And one short message. They will make an example of you. Elias felt a cold wave move through him. Example. That meant punishment. Public. Clear. Sir, one of the crew whispered, you need to see this. A live feed appeared on the main screen. A human colony. Outer system. Peaceful. Small. Defenseless. Ships appeared above it. Not human. Not unknown either. Council ships. Elias's heart dropped. No, he said softly. The ships did not fire immediately. They waited, like predators, sending a message. Then the signal came through. Clear, cold, from the council. Final opportunity for compliance. Elias closed his eyes for a second. Just 1 second. Then opened them again. No, he said. The sky above the colony lit up. The feed cut to black. No explosion shown. No screams heard. Just silence. Inside the ship, no one spoke. No one moved. Because everyone understood. This was the price. Elias stood still, staring at the dark screen. His hands were shaking now, but his voice was steady. They think this will break us, he said quietly. He turned to his crew, but now there was something new in his eyes. Not fear, not doubt, something stronger. They're wrong. Far away, inside the council chamber, the speaker watched the same black screen, waiting, calculating. Now, it said softly, we will see what humanity is worth. Silence spread across Earth. Not panic, not noise, silence. Because when the feed went dark, everyone understood what it meant. A colony gone. Millions of people erased in seconds. No warning, no mercy. In command centers, leaders stood frozen. Some looked away. Some clenched their fists. Some whispered the same question. Why? But Elias Vance already knew the answer. Back on the ship, he stood in front of the blank screen. They wanted this, he said quietly. They wanted us to see it. The crew did not argue, because deep down they knew it too. This was not an attack. This was a message. Hours later, the council sent its official statement. Unknown hostile forces have destroyed a human colony. The council offers its concern. Elias read it once. Then again, his jaw tightened. They're lying, when the crew said. Elias nodded slowly. Yes, he replied, and they expect us to accept it. Another signal arrived, encrypted, the same pattern as before, the same unknown sender. Elias opened it immediately. This time, it was not just a message. It was proof, hidden camera feeds, ship logs, command codes, all pointing to one truth. The council itself had ordered the attack. Elias felt anger rise inside him. Hot, sharp, but he forced himself to stay calm. Anger could destroy him, or it could guide him. Play it, he said. The room filled with images. Council ships entering orbit, weapons charging, orders being sent. Clear, direct, no doubt. One line repeated in the data. Subject species, human. Status, non-compliant. Action, demonstration. The crew stood in silence. One of them whispered. They called it a demonstration. Elias turned away from the screen. For a moment, he said nothing. Then he spoke. They don't see us as people, he said. They see us as a problem. Back on Earth, the evidence spread fast, faster than any official message, because humans had one thing the Council did not understand. They shared everything. The truth reached every city, every screen, every person. The Council had destroyed a human world, not by accident, not by war, but as a warning. And something changed. The arguments stopped. The debates ended. The division faded. For once, humanity agreed on something. Back on the ship, a reply arrived from Earth Command. Short, simple, clear. What are our options? Elias stared at the message. Options. It felt like a strange word now. He thought about the chamber, the speaker, the cold voices, the fear hiding behind power. Then he answered. We have two choices, he said. We submit or we resist. A pause. Then another message came. And if we resist? Elias looked out into space, at the massive council station, at the ships moving around it like silent guards. We might lose everything, he said. Another pause, longer this time. Then the final message came. Then we fight. Elias closed his eyes for a second, not in fear, but in acceptance. When he opened them again, he was different. All right, he said softly. Then we fight. But humans did not attack right away. That would be suicide. Instead, they watched. Elias began to study everything. Council movement, ship patterns, communication signals, trade routes, all of it. And the more he watched, the more he realized something important. The council was not perfect. It looked powerful. It acted powerful. But inside, it was broken. Species did not trust each other. Orders were delayed. Messages were hidden. Decisions were slow. Fear was everywhere. They're not united, Elias said one day. They're controlled. His crew looked at him. What's the difference? Someone asked. Elias gave a small, cold smile. Control breaks faster than unity. That was when the idea formed. They could not destroy the council from the outside, but maybe they could break it from the inside. Another encrypted message arrived. The unknown ally again. You saw the truth, it said. You understand now. Elias typed a reply. Who are you? The answer came after a long delay. A survivor. Elias frowned. Of what? The reply was slow, careful. Of joining the council. Elias felt a chill. What do you want? He asked. This time, the answer came quickly. Freedom. Elias looked at the message for a long time. Then he asked the most important question. Can others be trusted? The reply came in a single word. No. Elias almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it confirmed everything. Good, he said quietly. Then we won't trust them. His crew looked confused. What does that mean? One of them asked. Elias turned to them, and now there was something new in his eyes. Not fear, not anger, but strategy. It means we stop thinking like victims, he said. It means we stop asking for a place in their system. He paused, then finished the thought, and we start breaking it. At that moment, a small alert appeared on the screen. A council supply route, lightly defended, routine, unimportant, perfect. Elias stared at it. then gave the first real order of the war. "Prepare a probe," he said. "Not an attack. Not yet." The crew moved quickly. "What are we testing?" someone asked. Elias watched the moving ships on the screen. "Their reaction," he said. Hours later, the probe reached its target. It did something simple, small, almost meaningless. It disrupted a signal, just for a few seconds. But the result was not small. Council ships reacted instantly, too fast, too aggressively. They turned on each other, confused, suspicious, weapons charging, orders clashing. Elias watched it all, every second, every mistake. Then he smiled. "They're already breaking," he said. Back in the council chamber, alarms echoed. Delegates argued. Voices rose. Fear grew. And for the first time in a very long time, the council was not in control. Elias looked at the stars, at the darkness between them. "This is just the beginning," he said. And somewhere deep inside the council, the speaker watched the chaos unfold. Its light flickered, just once, because now it understood something new. Humans were not just refusing to kneel. They were learning how to fight. The galaxy did not change in one moment. It changed slowly, quietly, like something moving in the dark. At first, no one noticed. A delayed message here, a missing ship there, a small system going silent for a few hours. Nothing big, nothing obvious. But Elias noticed, because he was looking for it. On his ship, screens were always active now. Data flowed without rest. Council routes, signals, movements. Every small detail mattered. "They're making mistakes," one of the crew said. Elias shook his head. "No," he replied. "They're afraid." Fear was spreading inside the council. Not open fear, not spoken fear, but quiet fear. The kind that makes leaders hesitate. The kind that breaks systems from inside. The small probe event had done more than expected. It did not destroy anything, but it planted something dangerous. Doubt. Council ships had turned on each other for a few seconds. That was enough. Now every captain was careful. Every order was questioned. Every signal was checked twice. Control was slowing down. And in a system built on control, slow meant weak. Another message arrived. Encrypted. The unknown ally again. "You started something," it said. Elias typed back. "Good." There was a pause. Then a longer reply came. "Others are watching." Elias leaned forward. "Who?" The answer was different this time. Not clear, not direct. "Those who want out." Elias felt something shift. "Then let them speak," he replied. The response came almost instantly. "They're afraid." Elias stared at the words. Then he said quietly, "So were we." Silence followed. Then, slowly, new signals began to appear. Not one, not two, many. Hidden messages, broken codes, short transmissions. Each one carried the same feeling. Fear, hope, desperation. Elias and his team worked fast. Decoding, tracking, listening. One message stood out, clearer than the others. "We gave them our world," it said. "They took our sky." Another one came. "We joined for protection. We became servants." And another, "We cannot fight alone." Elias sat back in his chair. Now he understood. The council was not just feared. It was hated. But hate alone was not enough. "They need a reason," Elias said. His crew looked at him. "What kind of reason?" Elias turned to the main screen, to the map of the galaxy, to the lines showing control, routes, power. "A reason to believe they can win," he said. That was the hard part, because the truth was simple. The council was still strong, still massive, still dangerous. Humans had not won anything yet. They had only made the first move. "We don't need to win right now," Elias continued. "We just need to show them it's possible." Another silence. Then one of the crew asked, "How?" Elias smiled slightly. "We break something they think cannot be broken." Days passed, then weeks. The hidden war continued. Small disruptions, careful moves, silent actions. Human probes interfered with signals. Supply lines slowed down. Messages were delayed. Nothing big, nothing open, but the effect was growing. Inside the council, arguments became louder. Meetings became longer. Trust became weaker. Delegates accused each other, blamed each other, watched each other. Fear turned into suspicion, and suspicion turned into cracks. One day, a new opportunity appeared, a central data relay. Important, highly protected, but not impossible. Elias stared at it for a long time. This is it, he said. His crew felt it too. This was different, not a small test, not a quiet move. This would be noticed. If we do this, one of them said slowly, there's no going back. Elias nodded. We already crossed that line. The plan was simple, but risky. A stealth unit would move close, hack the relay, send one message, then leave. Not a weapon, not an attack. A message. The crew prepared quickly. No wasted motion, no fear in their hands. Because now they understood this was not just survival anymore. This was resistance. Hours later, the unit reached its target. The relay stood in space like a giant eye, watching everything, controlling everything. Signal ready, the pilot said. Elias took a breath. Send it. Across the galaxy, every council channel flickered. For a moment, everything stopped. Then the message appeared. Simple, clear, impossible to ignore. You are not alone. Inside ships, inside stations, inside hidden worlds, beings looked at their screens, reading the words. Again and again, something changed. Not outside, inside. Hope. Back in the council chamber, chaos erupted. What is this? Who did this? How did this happen? Voices overlapped. Power cracked. The speaker stood at the center, silent, still, but its light was unstable now. For the first time, it did not have control. Elias watched the reactions from his ship, every signal, every response. And slowly, he nodded. It worked, he said, but he did not smile, because he knew the truth. This was only the beginning. Hope was dangerous, because hope leads to action, and action leads to war. Far across the galaxy, a small fleet changed direction, then another, not toward Earth, but away from the Council. The unknown allies sent one final message. They are waking up. Elias looked at the stars. Good, he said. His voice was calm, but strong. Now we show them how to fight. Deep inside the Council, the speaker finally spoke. Prepare all forces, it said. Its voice was colder than ever. Humanity is no longer under evaluation. A pause, then the final command. Humanity is now a threat. Elias stood in silence as the alert reached his ship. He read the message once, then looked at his crew, and for the first time, he did not speak like a diplomat. He spoke like a leader in war. Get ready, he said. Now it begins. The war did not begin with a single shot. It began with movement. Across the galaxy, fleets started to change direction. Ships that once followed council orders now ignored them. Some slowed down, some disappeared. Some turned their weapons, but did not fire yet. The message had done its work. You are not alone. Those words spread faster than any weapon. On Elias's ship, every screen was alive. Signals flooded in. Unknown fleets. Hidden channels. Broken codes turning into clear voices. They're responding, when the crew said. Elias nodded, but his eyes were serious. Not all of them, he said, and not all for the same reason. Because this was not a clean rebellion. It was messy, chaotic, dangerous. Some species wanted freedom. Some wanted revenge. Some just wanted power for themselves. And the council knew it. Inside the great chamber, the speaker stood brighter than ever. Its voice echoed across all channels. Order will be restored. But this time, the galaxy did not listen. The first real battle started far from Earth. A small system, unimportant the most, but not to Elias. Why here, when the crew asked? Elias pointed at the map. Because it's weak, he said, and because they think we won't defend it. Council ships arrived first. Large, organized, cold. Then something unexpected happened. Another fleet appeared. Different designs, different signals. Not human. Who are they? The crew asked. Elias watched closely. They're the first ones, he said. The ones who chose to fight. The two fleets faced each other. Silence filled the space between them. Then the council ships opened fire. No warning. No hesitation. Energy lit up the darkness. Ships broke apart. Signals screamed. But this time, something was different. The second fleet did not run. They fought back. Their attacks were not perfect, not clean, but they were real. And for the first time in a long time, the council met resistance. On Elias's ship, the crew watched every second. We should help them, someone said. Elias did not answer right away. He knew this moment mattered, not just the battle, but what it meant. If humans joined now, they would reveal themselves. If they stayed back, others might fall. Elias made his decision. Move in, he said. Human ships jumped into the battle. Fast, sharp, precise. Their weapons were not the strongest, but they were different, adaptive, unpredictable. They targeted systems, signals, control points, not just destruction, disruption. Council ships began to slow. Orders failed. Coordination broke. And suddenly, the perfect system wasn't perfect anymore. The battle turned. The second fleet pushed forward. Human ships cut through the gaps. Council forces began to retreat. Not all at once, but enough. On the command deck, silence fell. They had done it. A small victory. But it felt bigger, because it proved something. The council could lose. The news spread fast, faster than before. A council fleet has retreated. Those words changed everything. More systems began to rise. More fleets broke formation. More voices spoke. The hidden war was no longer hidden. Back at the council chamber, the atmosphere was different. No more calm. No more control. Delegates shouted openly now. Accusations filled the air. You are losing control. This is your failure. They are spreading. The speaker stood silent at the center, but its light was unstable. For the first time, it looked uncertain. Elias knew what this meant. They're cracking, he said, but he also knew something else. They'll strike back, he added, and harder than before. He was right. The next move came quickly. A massive signal spread across the galaxy. All council forces, all remaining loyal fleets. One command: return to the core. Elias's eyes narrowed. The throne, he said. The core was where the council ruled from, the heart of their power, the place no one attacked. Until now, they're gathering everything, one of the crew said. Elias nodded. They're preparing for a final stand. Silence filled the room, because everyone understood what that meant. This war was reaching its end. Elias stepped forward. Send a message, he said, to everyone. The signal spread across the galaxy, to rebels, to survivors, to those still afraid. We strike the core, the message said. A pause, then the final line. We end this. Responses came in waves. Some agreed immediately. Some hesitated. Some stayed silent. But enough answered, enough to matter. Fleets began to move again. Not away this time, but toward one place. The throne. Elias stood at the front of the command deck, looking at the growing numbers. Different ships, different species, different reasons, but one direction. Forward. This is it. One of the crew whispered. Elias nodded slowly. Yes, he said. His voice was calm, but heavy. Now we find out what we really started. Far ahead, deep in space, the core waited. Massive, silent, surrounded by the last power of the council. Inside, the speaker stood alone, watching the approaching fleets. Its light flickered again, but this time it did not hide it. Let them come, it said. Its voice was cold, but different, almost desperate. Back on his ship, Elias watched the same view. The throne of the galaxy, the place where everything began, the place where everything would end. He took a slow breath, then gave the final order. Set course, he said. The ships moved forward, together, and as they did, The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath, because the next battle would decide everything. The core did not welcome them. It waited, silent, still, like a storm that had not yet moved. The fleets arrived one by one, different shapes, different sizes, different histories. Enemies stood side by side, not because they trusted each other, but because they had the same target. The Council's final defense filled the space around the core. Massive ships, perfect lines, cold light. At the center, the throne. Elias stood on the command deck, watching it all. His hands were steady, but his thoughts were not. "This is bigger than us now," one of the crew said quietly. Elias nodded. "It always was." The first shot came from the Council. Not a warning, not a message, a decision. Energy tore across space. Ships exploded. Signals vanished. And just like that, the final battle began. The fight was chaos. No perfect lines. No clear sides. Ships moved in every direction. Weapons flashed. Voices shouted. Old enemies fought together. New allies made mistakes. Some ran. Some stayed. Some fell. Human ships moved through it all. Not the biggest. Not the strongest. But the most focused. Target control nodes. Elias ordered break coordination. They did not try to destroy everything. They broke the system. Signals. Commands. Timing. And slowly, the Council's perfect defense began to fail. But the core did not fall. It fought back. A massive wave of energy pushed outward. Ships were thrown aside. Some were destroyed instantly. "Shields failing," someone shouted. Elias held his position. "Stay on course," he said, because he understood something now. This was not just a battle. It was the last move of a system that refused to die. At the center of the core, the Council chamber still stood. The speaker was there, alone, watching everything, calculating. But something was wrong. Its light flickered more than before, because for the first time, it was losing. Back in the battle, a path began to open, not by one fleet, but by many, each one pushing forward, each one falling back, each one trying again. Elias saw it. "The chamber," he said, "a narrow line, a chance. We can reach it," one of the crew said. Elias knew the risk. If they failed, it was over. If they succeeded, everything changed. "Take us in," he said. The ship moved forward, faster, closer, through fire, through debris, through chaos. Alarm screamed. Damage critical. Systems failing. Elias did not move. "Keep going," he said. And then they were through. Inside the core, everything was quiet. No battle, no noise, just the chamber and the throne. Elias stepped inside. The same place where it all began. The same place where humanity was judged. Now, it was empty, except for one, the speaker. "You came," it said. Its voice was weaker now, but still cold. Elias walked forward slowly. "This ends now," he said. The speaker tilted its form slightly. "You think destroying this place will change anything?" it asked. Elias did not stop. "It already has," he said. The speaker's light flickered again. "Without control, there is chaos," it said. "War, destruction, endless conflict." Elias stopped in front of it. He thought about Earth, about the colony, about the people lost. "We already had that," he said. A pause. "But at least it was ours." Silence filled the chamber. The speaker did not answer, because it had no answer. Elias looked at the throne, the symbol of control, of fear, of everything the Council had built. Then he gave the final command. "Do it." Outside, the remaining fleets focused their fire, not at ships, at the core itself. Inside, the chamber began to shake. Cracks of light spread across the walls. The throne flickered. The speaker stepped back. For the first time, it showed something real. Not control, not power. Fear. "This system cannot survive without order," it said. Elias looked at it one last time. "Then we'll build something better." The light grew brighter. The core began to collapse. Elias turned and walked away. Not running, not rushing, just walking, because the decision had already been made. Behind him, the throne burned, not just in fire, but in meaning. The battle ended, not with victory, but with silence. The council was gone, its ships destroyed, its system broken, its control ended. But the galaxy did not become peaceful, not right away. Old conflicts returned, old enemies remembered, chaos spread. Some blamed humanity. You destroyed order, they said. Others spoke differently. You gave us a choice. Elias returned to Earth, not as a hero, but as someone who had seen too much. In meetings, in talks, in quiet rooms, he said the same thing. We don't replace the throne. A pause. We remove it. And slowly, something new began. Not a council of rulers, but a network. Shared systems, shared voices, shared choices. It was not perfect. It never would be, but it was free. And for the first time in history, no one ruled the galaxy. Elias stood looking at the stars one last time. Quiet, thoughtful. We didn't win, one of his crew said. Elias shook his head slightly. No, he said. A small pause. Not like that. Then he looked back at the endless space and said the final words. Humanity didn't win because it was the strongest. A breath. It won because it refused to stay silent.